Hello, and welcome to episode 45 of the Digital Quill Podcast with your host, Mars Wilson. Today, we're talking a little bit more about reading and why it's good for you, as we've probably talked about in previous episodes. If I had a Lexion like Markiplier, or any sort of editor friend who could edit these videos right after I'm done with them, they would probably put that episode right here, and we would look at it and we would admire their editing skills, and I'd be like, yeah, good job. I'm glad I hired you for no pay and only experience because I am broke. I'm a broke ass bitch. Reading, it's good for you, right? Right. I still need to compile all of my research about reading and a few other things, and how it's good for your brain, mental health, well-being, physical health even. We are going to have, as I've stated, in at least 2 episodes, maybe more, the Digital Quill Family Book Club, or the Digital Quill Book Club, or whatever the heck it ends up being called. The Quill Book Club. If you are interested, let us know in the comments below. So, reading. This is probably going to be a shorter episode today. Maybe, I don't know. But I have gotten several people to read the Pumpkin Spice book, or the Pumpkin Spice book by Lori Gilmore. And while I ramble on about book nonsense and pumpkin spice nonsense, I'm going to look it up here. Just so we can have a visual ready and raring to go. I think that's a word. I don't really like using Goodreads. It is one of those weird things, but here's the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. You've probably seen it at Target and Walmart and various bookstores. You might have had an advertisement for it. Heck, you might have even seen people reading it. This rating is kind of bull, by the way. Just saying, oh, how lovely. So, this is the description. A spicy small-town romance and TikTok phenomenon, perfect for fans of Hannah Grace and Stephanie Archer. No idea who those are, by the way. When Jeannie's aunt gifts her the beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dream Harbor, Jeannie jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs, but Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Jeannie's happy-go-lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan, or has this city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charm or her pumpkin spice lattes? So, fun fact about this. The tropes are grumpy and sunshine, small town, found family, spicy. It is spicy. I did not expect that. And mind you, the reason I didn't expect that is because I don't usually go back and read descriptions and stuff of things. I don't really do that with games. I don't do that with movies. I don't do that with books. I like going in with as much of a clean slate and no bias as possible. Experiment and experience. And I have to sneeze again. Gosh dang it. Not again, but again. Achoo! Will that help? No? No, it still tickles? Whatever. Okay. I like going in with as much of a clean slate as possible. And I kind of went in with the clean slate of this because it's been a book I've seen pop up and around. And my mission before finding this book and this series was the following. In 1 second, need to use pause powers to activate so I can go blow my nose. BRB. And now that I'm back, you won't really notice much, but I will, because I totally lost my place just now. And also my nose hurts. I hate how when you blow your nose, sometimes your face will flush because of the rush of blood to your face, but hey, whatever. Ugh. So where was I? Oh yeah. my mission before finding this book, even though I had seen it around a while, was I was looking for something that would feel like Hallmark. Like the Hallmark movie channel toward the holidays at the end of the year, where you start seeing stupid, basic, cookie cutter, Hallmark trope love stories. There's usually a dog or a cat. Someone's from the big city visiting a small town for the holidays. You know, it's kind of all the same. I think Candace Cameron from Zoe 101. I think I said that name correctly. I think she plays in a movie now, a Hallmark movie. And here's the kicker. I got what I was looking for. I was looking for Hallmark, and I found it in this book, in this series. But also, I got Hallmark Plus. It's called Hallmark Smut. It is actually kind of like a coined term, a term I coined while reading the series and book, and other people have kind of picked it up a little bit. I have a few friends who like the term Hallmark Smut now, and a few of them got the book because of that term, and it's amusing. It's great. And I didn't see that in anywhere in the description for the book itself. I didn't even know that it had spice in it. I was pleasantly surprised when it kind of hinted at it and didn't do anything, and then toward the end is when it got spicy, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I kind of hoped the rest of the books were like that. Yes and no. One sec. My nose is really giving me fits today. Ugh. But yeah, no, that is going to be the first book that we end up doing as a book club. Hallmark Spicy Smut. Or Hallmark Smut. And it's not even like smut. It's like tame smut. It's like you're watching a TV show and a sex scene comes on between two characters who are in a romantic relationship, and maybe the scene doesn't help the story or the plot in any way, but you're kind of like, well, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because these two are involved, and whatever, director's choice, I guess, right? Well, it's kind of like that, but more tasteful, because you're reading it. You're reading it and you're not watching it. Where people might accidentally walk in at the wrong minute, and you might have to cover the screen because you're like, no, wait, this isn't what that is. It's just Game of Thrones. Look, it's just True Blood. Wait. TikTok, huh? I didn't even really know this book was a big thing on TikTok, and I mean, I guess it kind of is. I don't know how big of a thing on TikTok. I barely recently got into the book talk community of TikTok. And, speaking of book talk community from the past, let me see here. We're gonna do this while I ramble on about random nonsense as well, about random books and stuff, while I pull up this, and maybe, just maybe, I won't have to log in, and I do, and that's fine. We'll use the QR code like we did last time. And I am currently going to pull up a current-ish TikTok trend in the book talk community. And that trend is where people were writing, or not writing, but showing off different photos of, what do you call it? Different photos in a video format of books that they read growing up. And I think it's on the other account. Of course it is. So, real quick. Back to this. Nope. Back to this. Perfect. Okay. This is my main TikTok at the moment. Sort of. It's like one of my two main TikToks. This is weird. I don't like that. I have a story about that for another time. And then this is the other me. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. There's the other me. What? Here are here is this. Let's see. All right. Now maybe, just possibly, potentially, I can get there to be audio? Question mark. Just potentially, maybe. Just maybe I can get audio. This is gonna end up being a long episode, isn't it? Simply because I'm indecisive and don't know what I'm doing, apparently. Is there sound? Yes, potentially. I should have, what do you call it? Tested this stuff before there we go. My third mindset on that is okay. All right. Yep, there we go. There was that. So let's talk about that, right? Sorry for muting myself there for a moment. I hope the audio actually worked out and you were able to look at the pretty pictures. If you were not looking at pretty pictures because you were on the audio only episode, hopefully you were able to recollect your thoughts. So let's talk about what we kind of just saw, right? On TikTok or Book Talk, there's like this trend in the Book Talk community where people were showing off different videos or photos in videos of books that they were reading while they were growing up. And I read a lot growing up. Reading was like one of the weird therapies that my mom kind of started for me, on me, because she was also a major reader. And Five Little Ducks is the oldest book I can remember reading. And I like reading or remembering that book and remembering reading that book for a few reasons. One, I have a lot of memories surrounding that book. I almost have it memorized verbatim. Let's see. 5 little ducks went out one day over the hills and far away. Mama duck said quack, 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 but only 4 little ducks came back. 4 little ducks went out one day over the hills and far away. Mama duck said quack, 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 but only 3 little ducks came back. And so on and so forth. And then it goes, 1 little duck went out one day over the hills and far away. Mama duck said quack, 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 but none of her little ducks came back. And then one day, Mama duck something over the hills and far away. Something quack, 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 and all 5 of her little ducks came back. And it's like this cute little 5 little duck story. Ducks, frogs, and wolves were like always my first favorite animal. Duckies. I love duckies. I want to collect rubber duckies. I have half considered getting a Jeep just so I can get ducked. And I also have considered getting ducks to Jeep or duck Jeeps because why not? But I feel like I need to have a Jeep in order to do that. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. I don't know. I need Jeep people to help me out with that one. Are any of you duck Jeepers? Jeeper duckers? Jeep duckers? What even did I just say? What combination of words did I just say right now? I don't even know. Jeep duckers? Any of you Jeep duckers out there can give me some information about what it means to be a Jeep ducker? Anyway, I'm like side tangenting when I should just be talking about reading and reading only. Books, reading, knowledge, reading good, books good, reading. Five Little Ducks was a good book. I have a lot of memories and stories around that book. When I got into drawing, I used that book a few times for references, and by references I would trace the back image a few times just to get the hang of like drawing lines and stuff. That was fun. That was a neat little lesson in art. I think I brought it to show and tell one day. I might have brought it to show and tell one day. I don't know. The House of Night series. I read every single book, minus one growing up, between middle school and high school, I think. Yeah, middle school and high school, somewhere in there. And then, same thing with the Christopher Paolini books. I might have read those a little younger. It might have been high school, though. I'm not sure. Two interesting stories with that one I probably shared before when talking about these books. I didn't actually finish the last book. I got half of the way in the last book of The House of Night. I finished it as a part of a reread as an adult last year or the year before, as part of a mission to start learning how to like read again. And I think I've been successful at how much I've been reading lately, or just in general, starting with books I used to love growing up, because the other day, I picked up a book called Older, and it's an interesting book, which I have some side tangents and informations to show you on a later episode, maybe, about the book itself. Older. It was an interesting and difficult read for a lot of reasons. Good read. I recommend it, I guess, but I'm also not sure. Let's see. Where was I going? Something about reading Older. Oh, I got that book a week ago, or 2 weeks ago at this point. I started reading it. I didn't read it for a day or two, and then I picked it back up and couldn't put it down. I finished that book, like 40-something chapters and like 300-something pages, if not more, in a matter of 3 days. So, for me to say I don't read anymore is a bullshit nonsense lie. I read again. I read like I used to. I'm currently reading It Rides a Pale Horse. It's a bit more challenging to read than Older or something by Frida McFadden, but that's fine. That's okay, because not everything's going to be easy to read, especially when you don't completely understand the culture or dialect, or it comes from another language and it's translated 3 different times. Thank you, the girl with the dragon tattoo. Fucking Swedish book. Gotta love it. It's actually a pretty good read, and once I finish it, it will be a joyous day, and I will buy 20 books because I deserve it. I deserve 20 books. Stay tuned for the future of the Digital Quill Press Book Club, maybe. The Digital Quill Fan Book Club? I don't know. The Digital Quill Book Club. The book club of the quill. Let's see. More of the books in that series. I am still trying to find a handful of books that I want to add to my collection from when I was growing up, because I didn't get to keep a lot of the books, salvage them at all. The Divide that you saw, I actually want that specific edition because it opens up in an interesting way. It was a nice book, a very unique book, a new book, a weird book. I liked that book. Art book. Night by Eli Wiesel. Ooh. That was a mandatory read, I believe, in freshman year of high school. And I loved I loved English class in high school. Every 4 years. All 4 years. And, Night was here. Let me go here and pull this up. All right. This book is really, really, really fucking special to me. Okay. I want to get that really clear. This book is special to me, so special as a matter of fact that talking about it now, I need to go buy my copy again, because holy crap. We're gonna make me go away, and it's just gonna be the desktop. Okay. Night is a 1960 memoir by Eli Wiesel based on his Holocaust experiences with his father in the Nazi Germany concentration camps at Auschwitz and Buchenwald in 1944 through 1945, toward the end of the Second World War in Europe. Originally published in 1956. Eli Wiesel, novel, memoir, autobiography, nonfiction novel. Original languages, English and Yiddish. Eliezer Wiesel was a Romanian-born American writer, professional political activist, Nobel laureate, and Holocaust survivor. He authored 57 books written mostly in French and English, including Night, which is based on his experiences as a Jewish prisoner at Auschwitz during the Holocaust. Born September 30th, 1928, died July 2nd, 2016. What an incredible man. What an incredible story. That book dug its claws into me, and it will never leave. He was silent for years about what happened to him back then. About what happened to his family. If you have not read that book, if you have not read Night, it is an easy read. I say easy in the sense that it's not like a Christopher Paolini novel. It's easy like the Parable of the Sower, but the conversation, the topic, it's hard. I did not know that I was crying until I could not see the words upon the page anymore. I'd be sitting in my mom's truck and suddenly my eyes would go blurry and I'd wipe my eyes and there'd be tears and I'd look down and one of my tears stained the book and I'd be like, oh my God. I'd put it down, give myself a few minutes to catch my breath and like sit with it, and then I'd start reading again. That book, his story and everyone else's stories that make up the narrative of that time. There are lines and moments in that book that still haunt me as if I almost lived it myself. And the thing is I didn't. The Holocaust happened many, many years before me. Maybe I had a reincarnation in that time. I don't know. But there are lines from that story. Conversations he had with people that I will never forget. I implore you, read that book. If you read anything in your life, read Night by Eli Wiesel. It will change your life. I'd actually like to credit Wiesel a little bit for why I'm even kind of writing my own memoir-ish book, fiction turned, or truth turned fiction. Stories, human stories, whether they're fact or fake, are interesting. We live such interesting experiences. Now, to kind of wrap this up and talk about slightly happier topics, because we are talking about reading, which, by the way, guys, is one of the coolest things that we can do with eyeballs or even ears or braille with touch. I still want to learn braille. Not because I'm blind or concerned I'm going to go blind, but learning braille as someone who writes and reads would actually be kind of unique, because, like, then I could connect with people who have to read braille in a different way. I've always considered reading braille. Maybe actually I should start, because I think I know some of it. I kind of practice when I see the braille on signs out and about. Sometimes I'll try to move my finger over it. Braille is interesting. Reading, writing. We can read pictures. Have you ever tried the emoji game? Or read some hieroglyphics? Yeah, we can read with pictures. I mean, there's all kinds of picture books in the world that also have text. Yeah. But, yep, reading is great. Reading is nice. Reading is good. Reading is great for you. Reading teaches you things, and it helps you travel to new places you've never been before. Eventually, I'd like to have at least half of the library that I had growing up. Maybe not the books themselves. There are some books I want to get. The Westing Game, The Divide. Complete a couple of series I had, like in my Amazon book wish list. There is the whole series for Darren Shaw, Cirque de Freak, which I actually do want to replace and reread, because I reread the first two recently, and then I reread them again, at least the first one. And then I need to read the others, because it's like a 12-book series, if I'm not mistaken, and I want to just get the whole book set in one go. Expensive. But, reading. I don't know what I was saying. Oh, back in the day, in an interesting side tangent about trauma and stuff. Sometimes, when you buy your kids a lot of gifts, spoil them, that's also kind of a form of abuse. And you would think, wow, spoiling your kids with all the toys and books in the world wouldn't be such like a bad thing, right? Like, it's not terrible. I'm gonna stop you right there, because I've had some time to think about this, because I was a spoiled brat child, because my mom even though my mom had a fixed income and my dad was the sole income source, and, you know, we had our own home and shit like that, like stuff that not every kid had, which honestly kind of bothered me, because that's why I wanted more friends, because I'm like, hey, I know, you know, like, let's experience things together. Anyway, sorry, side tangenting about a lot of stuff that I shouldn't side tangent about right now. I counted my books growing up. I had like over 100 for sure, and I think somewhere between 300 and 500, or 500 and 800, I can't remember, but I do remember having almost an entire wall, like the wall in front of me, maybe a little bigger, of shelves. And then some of the shelves had toy stuff at the bottom, and some of my shelves had like my rocks and my crystals and my radio and other stuff and stuffed animals at the top and stuff. But I had a lot of books. My bedroom growing up was actually mostly books and less toys, because I kept all the toys either in the closet or under my bed or on the bottom shelves. So I was mostly reading or gaming or outside. Wow. Or chores, carrying the emotional weight of trauma and baggage that I had growing up, and then also the emotional weight and trauma and baggage of the adults who put that on me. So that was interesting. Just because a child is mature does not mean you need to put the emotional weight of yourself on top of them too, because they can already barely handle their own maturity at their young age, where they shouldn't have to be so mature. But hey, sorry, side tangenting again. Reading was my escape growing up, and also like an anchor and a lifeline into showing me that life isn't just the life that I was living. In a previous episode, I was talking about like the esoteric numerology, astrology, theology sort of philosophy that I grew up with in a weird way. I showed off a couple of books, but there was a lot more than that. There were conversations I had with many, many adults, definitely falling into the realm of esoteric adults, and just a lot. Reading is good. Go read. Go read something right now after this episode, and that actually is my time. That is my time. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Digital Quill Podcast. I'm your host, Mars Wilson. This was episode 40, I want to say, 45? 44? 40 something. Let me see. 40, I don't even remember. I started this episode off and I don't remember. Let's see here. 44 audio test. Oh, right. Battery saver, because I didn't actually plug this thing in. That's fantastic. So fantastic. I digress. This was episode 45 of the Digital Quill Podcast. Yep, there it is. There it is. I'm not stupid, I promise. I am exhausted, though. That is a guarantee. Okay. Thank you for tuning into episode 45 of the Digital Quill Podcast with your host, Mars Wilson. I hope I was able to teach, inspire, motivate, or entertain you today. Thank you for giving your time to me, and also thank you for letting me share my time with you. As always, humans of Earth, keep going. Do not stop. Drink water. Remember to breathe. Exercise a little bit, and go read something. Go read. Do it for me. Do it for you. You'll thank you one day. I will see you next time for episode 46 of the Digital Quill Podcast. This was 45. Goodbye, everyone. Keep going. Don't stop. See you next time.